Please remain standing for the moment of silence for our sick, handicapped, military personnel, and recently departed of our community. I'd like to first mention that there was an executive session that was held before our meeting, prior to the start of this meeting, to discuss a legal matter. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Verducci?
Here.
Mr. Verducci?
Here.
Ms. Simuloli? Here. Mr. Ferry? Here. Mr. Franchik?
Here.
Mr. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Sarasnik?
Here.
Mayor Copeland? Here. Solicitor McDermott?
Here.
Engineer Heidel?
Here.
Chief King?
Here.
Assistant Chief Sigworth?
Here.
And Chief Miller?
Here. All right, public comment. Mr. Fryer.
Hi, thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to speak to. Excuse me.
Well, if I can interrupt for 1 second, we all got your packet that you dropped off over the weekend, so I appreciate the information. So we've heard it a lot of those different times, so if you could just try to keep down to the 5 minutes of all the stuff you're going to cover.
I will, Judge.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Incidentally, the reason I use drawings it's easier. It requires fewer words, and I think it's better for everybody to understand. But I just wanted to ask Borough Council to not pass the updating of the comprehensive plan into law until you've reviewed it, and I wanted to give you some reasons why very quickly. In 1961, as I recall, the federal government created the Community Redevelopment Plan, where they set aside hundreds of billions of dollars to reconstruct some of the business districts of the older communities. Fortunately, the Central Business District of Bridgeville was designated as a blighted area, and that made us eligible for receiving those design plans and the funds. I just wanted to show you this. This was the first one that the Allegheny County Char Valley Panhandle Planning Commission sent to Bridgeville officials. This, I know it's small, this diagonal was the railroad tracks going behind the First Commonwealth Bank, and they were going to make that a parking lot. These other areas are shops and buildings, and the value was $7 million. Unfortunately, our members of council turned it down because some of the people in the Central Business District didn't like the idea.
What year is that, Bob?
I think it was around 1961. And a couple of years after that, Joe, they sent us this one. I think you've seen this one before. Excuse me. This is the post office, Hickman Street, Bank Street extension. The second plan that they gave us created a perpendicular parking lot going across Washington Avenue, parallel to James Street with the Bank Street extension. It had two 10-story high-rise apartments or condos on each end to create people that wouldn't get in the car and drive to a shopping center. At any rate, this was a $15 million program, and it too was turned down by the Bridgeville officials because some of the businessmen didn't want to move their merchandise and apparatus to a different location until these shops were built. And finally, this is a picture of the Bridgeville
It's upside down.
station, Bridgeville Railroad Station.
It's upside down.
Oh, it's upside down. Thank you very much. This is a picture of the Bridgeville Railroad Station. At any rate, I persuaded the Pittsburgh Landmark Association to give us these two 80-foot-long passenger cars to put next to the station and put the caboose at this end to create sort of a tourist site that would attract people to Bridgeville. And they also said that they would give us $100,000 to buy the vacant lot behind the First Commonwealth Bank to create a parking lot if this succeeded, because they anticipated a great number of people that would be visiting it. At any rate, excuse me, my main point is, main point is, Bridgeville's the cause of a major traffic congestion problem, not just for us, and certainly us, but for the region. And I wanted to show you this. I put this together recently. These are the bypass routes that the cars are using to go around Bridgeville, whether it's starting in Collier Township where Palms Run Road intersects with Washington Pike, and also going Saigon, Presto Road over by the BJ business, and they're all in the reverse position, reverse thing. And again, Presley Road, we've all used these same bypasses ourselves when the traffic congestion in Bridgeville is excessive. At any rate, I just wanted to mention to you that there are solutions to these problems, and let me show you one last drawing. This is the drawing that came with the comprehensive plan I had drawn up. The drawing, as you know from studying it, calls for a row of 3-story high buildings built on the east side of Washington Avenue from the Bar Hill Road intersection to that bridge that goes over top of Washington Avenue. At any rate, you're talking about almost 200 square feet of space, requiring 664 parking spaces. They usually, in buildings like this, every 1,000 square feet should have 4, 5, and 6 spaces. At any rate, this number of buildings requires 664 square feet of space, 664 parking spaces, but there's only 110 on the drawing. This is one of the flaws in this plan. In addition to the fact, when you build a shopping area in America, you don't put the buildings right up against the street that the consumer voters are driving on. You put the parking lot there, like all of the shopping centers, you put the buildings in the back. I think there's some considerable flaws in the plan, and I'd like you guys to take a closer look at it, and I hope you see the same thing I see, and that will solve the problems. All right?
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mr. Fuller, you had something to say?
The drawing you showed there, that's just a conceptual thought. That isn't by no way a engineered drawing, which is.
I hope you're right, because
It says it right on the
He was
plan.
for one-
I am right. It's
Okay.
right there in the
Just
comprehensive plan.
Concept.
Okay, I was just going to say, what I did was, I just measured the length of the borough building, which is about 200 feet.
No, it was
And I
just
proportioned
concept.
it, yeah. All right,
Thank you.
good.
Okay, we can start with the business at hand. We have the borough engineers for a presentation, please.
Hi, thank you guys. I'm Jake Bajek, professional engineer with LSSE. We're going to talk about the Phase 2 consent order, give an update of where we're at right now, and review some of the alternatives that have been evaluated by Three Rivers Wet Weather as part of compliance metrics for the order. We have some big dates coming up. Being that we had some newer members on council, I added some slides that give a little bit of more background on the order. So if you don't see them in your packets, I'll let you guys know that that's what they're for. And I'll try to get through it quickly. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to stop me, and we can do questions at the end as well. All right, so the order from the health department came out in September of 21. Bridgeville executed it on October 28th, 2021. This is the main exhibit that came out of the order that was specific to Bridgeville. This table gives a current status as of 2008 for sanitary sewage flows through Bridgeville. It separated the borough into, it has 4 different monitors listed on here, so that's 4 different sewer sheds basically, and assigned a flow value to it. So here's the monitor name. These are all based on 2008 monitors that were put in by Alcosan in 2008. The municipalities that are within that net sewer shed area, whether or not they're majority contributing or full, for instance, this one's all Bridgeville. And this column here gives a sense of the amount of sewer within each sewer shed. It's done by inch miles, so instead of just saying linear feet of pipe or miles of pipe, it takes into account the diameter, because the more diameter you have in the sewer, the more chances you have for infiltration into the system. This long interim investigative flow target metric threshold, this is also called the gold line standard. This is basically the line we want to get below as far as how much infiltration we have in the system. This reflects our current standing. So, here's how far below we are the target, which is a good thing. And, most of our meters are down below that, at least with this initial release of Exhibit B. And this column lets us know if the flows within that sewer shed are tributary to a sanitary sewer overflow. So these are all the compliance metrics. So basically, if you're above that gold line, you need to get below it. And if you're tributary to SSOs, you have to come up with a plan to eliminate that SSO and also do a 10% reduction project to that SSO. So when we signed the order, it kicked off, we had a 6-month period called the baseline due diligence period. It enabled us to check these values. If we had updated information, we could adjust them. And the major things we did were we brought that purple area down below, which was good. We had updated Alcosan data from 17 and 18, I think. That got us below, and we were able to remove one of the monitors completely. It was on a different line, and it shouldn't have been there. This is that gold line. Just wanted to show you, what it is. It's not a flat line. It's not a one solid metric. It's a complicated equation based on how much the size of the sewer system, and this just represents our main 2 monitors for Bridgeville. This is where it was before. With updated data, we brought it down. So this is specific to McLaughlin Run here, and that takes into account most of Bridgeville. This was that purple area at the time before we made the adjustment. All these red stars are SSOs. So those are the sanitary sewer overflows now that are our main concern with the order. Bridgeville's tributary to these 3 here. We actually have flow on this side that comes down around into Upper St. Clair, the tributary to that one. This one's not really active. It's not much of a concern for us. This is the McLaughlin Run Park, very active, that's a concern, and this is down to the Alcosan Point connection along Chartiers Creek. Later I'll talk about the plan is looking at 4 different SSOs. That's actually, there's another one here where Bethel meets Upper St. Clair. These 2 here are not included in the plan that Three Rivers is doing right now. This one's Upper St. Clair only, this one's Bethel only. So, being that SSOs are our only concern at the moment, that puts us into paragraph 7 of the order. And these are the requirements. So by May 31st, 2023, we accomplished this. We did updated flow monitoring, we updated the H&H model. The next task, by December 31st, 2023, this is when the sanitary sewer overflow elimination plan was to be submitted. This sewer shed, like most of the complex sewer sheds in the Alcosan service area, got extensions to June 30th. So this is a lot of what we're talking about today is hitting that June 30th deadline. Here's another task. This was for the source flow reduction end, the 10% project. We did flow isolation studies, flow monitoring, we achieved that. And here are the other remaining tasks for the order. So beyond that June 30th date, we need to look for the SSOEP. By September 30th, we need to submit our design for our 10% project. Now this is the large project that I think we've been discussing for a while now. We got Grow Grant money for it, so we've already done the design. The only, I think, tasks moving forward, there's probably a final design we'll need to do down where we're going to make the disconnection and rerouting. But even work area 4, which is all the lining we're doing, regionalization repairs, that kind of thing, that's already out to bid. So that's what we're going to open up in March. So by the end of September, we'll be submitting those designs with a report that has all the backup information. By the end of December 2025, that's when the construction of those projects needs to take place. We're ahead of the game there because we're already out the bid on part of it, and we already have grant funding. And then following that, there's flow monitoring and reporting to do as well.
Can I ask a question? So
Yes.
you're mentioning all those projects and putting it out to bid, and is that mainly grant funding, or is that monies that we've put aside?
It's both. There's two projects here that are source flow reduction, as Jake was talking about, the lining projects. We have, if you remember, over the past couple of years, we've been very active in getting back into the camera inspections. So we had 2 years of camera inspection that Jake was able to put a project together that's out the bid right now that would do the lining repairs for everything that we found in those inspection years. And then, as Jake was talking about, we've talked over the year, but maybe just a good reminder, working with Upper St. Clair and Bethel Park, we're doing a project to take Bridgeville out of the C5310 point of connection with Alcoasand and put a lot of Bridgeville into, as you saw on the map, C54. It's a kind of a dedicated Bridgeville connection to Alcoasand, and it gets us below a lot of the thresholds.
Because of
And that project was funded partially by Alcoasand Green, what's it called, Grow money.
Yeah.
And then we have a memorandum of understanding that the solicitor put together that there's a cost sharing agreement in place that we're working out the final details with Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair. So everyone's spreading the wealth and coming to the table.
This is basically that project. All the sewer here in purple, this is all currently going to the McLaughlin Run Interceptor, and we're going to move it basically to C54. It used to flow that way before the McLaughlin Run Interceptor was built. They cut it off, and that's basically how it happened. They sent everything down this way, but then that became overloaded. We've done the analysis through flow monitoring, modeling to show we can take this flow back and put it into C54. And that's what this represents down here, is us taking that flow, building a new sewer around that, and reconnecting it what it was before.
And that's on Baldwin Street.
And here's the grant information. At the time of the grant submittal, this was our opinion of probable cost for the whole project, so little less than $1 million. We're removing approximately 18 million gallons per year of sanitary sewer overflow going into the streams. We were approved for $350,000 in growth funding, and it's a unique project. Nobody else is doing this kind of system optimization, focusing on the actual discharge to the environment. So that it was appreciated, and it's been used for examples for the region. And it was approved by the health department via letter, and it's going to be multi-municipally funded along with GROW. So Bethel and Upper St. Clair are in on this as well. This is another slide that wouldn't be in your packets, but it's another important piece of the puzzle. This is the regionalization sewers for Alcoasand. So these are the trunk sewers and interceptors that they are going to take over ownership. we've already passed a resolution here, I think, to start that program. They went through, they televised all this, told us what repairs we needed to make. I think we have 2 repairs left, and they're in that project that we put out the bid already. So we'll be well on our way to getting that transferred. I would think mid-25 maybe. But the key thing here is, when we're talking about these SSOs, all of the SSOs we're talking about are on these lines. So these SSOs are going to be transferred to Alcosan ownership. So when the next round of orders comes out in 2029, we will not be responsible for those SSOs. And when we're talking about this SSO elimination plan, it is, our design currently. If we had to do something, if Alcosan wasn't taking this over, this is what we're recommending, through engineers from Bethel Park, Upper St. Clair, us, Three Rivers Wet Weather. So you're going to see some numbers that might shock you, but just letting you know that's basically transferred to Alcosan, and they'll most likely come up with their own. So I'm going to get into this, the alternatives that they've conveyed to us. The goal is to develop a plan to eliminate the SSOs under a typical year, which is 2003 rainfall, as well as a 2-year design storm condition. They looked at storage tanks, increased pipe conveyance, building bigger sewers or upsizing the ones we have currently, and then inflow and infiltration reduction to try to get the flow out of the system that's not supposed to be there, and looked at combinations of the 3. These are the areas they looked at as potential storage locations. Starting at the bottom would be at the point of connection with Alcosan along Chartiers Creek. Moving further up, this is the McLaughlin Run Park. As we get into Upper St. Clair, they've actually identified several parcels that could serve as storage facilities, so those areas were evaluated as well. On this table here, it gives a summary of what the alternatives they put together would entail. We're looking at storage volumes upwards of 12 million gallons. I mean, massive tanks, massive tanks. When you see the A next to the alternative, that's incorporating some level of source flow reduction, mostly 20%, just to see, all right, if we were to reduce the flows, how far down could we get that size? So first they looked at individual locations. All right, if we just built one 12 million gallon tank up here in Upper St. Clair, how could we make that work? There's a lot of gravity sewer that would need to be installed. There's a pump station downstream, most likely pretty close to the park. There'd be a force main that have to take flow all the way back up to that location. There's a lot there. It's not really a feasible alternative. Moving down, all right, if we move it down, we can get rid of the pump station, but there's a lot of upsizing of sewer things that happen to get flow to this location. And then third, if we put a tank down here by the park, at that point, you're now upsizing all of this sewer and the rest all the way down to the point of connection. So again, that's very disruptive, still enormous tanks. It's just not that feasible. So they started looking at combinations and the potential for 2 different tanks. I'm only showing you alternative 7 at this point. This is the recommended alternative that we're looking for buying from you guys today. It's a regional storage tank in Collier Township across Chartiers Creek where we connect to Alcosan. There's available property down there to make that happen. This is attractive not only because it helps McLaughlin Run communities, but Alcosan has issues along Chartiers Creek as well. Collier has SSOs. This could potentially address a lot of that. When you combine that with a storage tank upstream in Upper St. Clair, we can get most of accomplish most of our goals without upsizing a lot of pipe. And the only other element here is adjusting the restrictor plate, which we already intend to do as part of the road grant and the rerouting. This is where we introduce costs. You know, these were all those individual alternatives, huge tanks, lots of conveyance, upwards of $44 million. Alternative 6 was a few different locations upstream they looked at, but clearly alternative 7 brings us down the lowest tank volume, lowest amount of pipe upsizing, and lowest cost. You'll notice that all the infill I&I reduction is 0. When they evaluated where there would be cost-effective source flow reduction, it's all lining the entire interceptor. Now, that could be effective. It's in, a lot of it's along the stream, but when you evaluate it on a cost basis, it doesn't really, it's basically a wash with how much volume we're removing. The other element there is that Alcosan's going to own all that, so we don't necessarily want to go in, line it, and then hand it over to Alcosan. So, summary here, we looked at splitting the storage, we looked at individual storage, still had large volumes. It only really works when you look at that regional location downstream on Chartiers Creek. Savings there up to $11 million versus the other alternatives. This is the discussion on the trunk line lining, basically similar costs. And just a reminder that this is going to go into the health department, DEP is going to get a copy, Alcosan is going to get a copy. The way we're looking at it is we're doing all these evaluations to help guide Alcosan when these facilities become theirs, and they have to put a plan together, which the timeline on that is unknown, potentially 2046, something like that. I'm not sure when they are actually required to handle these in the way that we would have been. And I think this might be my last slide before questions. This is just where we're at in the process of getting this SSOEP submitted. Engineers have come to a consensus alternative. They wanted us to have municipal approval by the 15th on this alternative 7. Enough for us to move forward and draft a report. Three Rivers is the one leading this. Wade Trim's actually the engineer doing most of the work on this, and they've already started drafting the SSOEP. It's just getting this information in there and looking to have a draft in early March for us to re-review. We would report findings to you guys or any concerns, get comments back to them by April, and plan to submit a month before our deadline. I know Bethel Park's already had this presentation. I think they've given their approval. That's as much as I know at this point. But so any questions?
You're asking for approval, but there's not a financial responsibility behind this?
Correct. This is a selection of an alternative.
Well, I'm just saying, once again, you go to grants and everything else, and,
What basically what Jake's indicating is the cost is gonna end up being distributed through all the service people throughout the same, will actually pay for this thing.
not any particular municipality.
Another key element, I think, was as we were going through these alternatives, we did evaluate some properties in Bridgeville. And we looked at the park and we made it clear to them that it cannot go there. Even further down along Commercial Street, that's currently being developed. I think there's plans for it, and there wasn't the room for it there. So we were able to find locations outside of the borough. So that was beneficial, and it'll go in this plan as such. So hopefully, when Alcosan receives it, it's the same. And Alcosan's been a part of these discussions as well. They've been in all the multi-municipal meetings. They know what our alternative is.
How about the backflow over here, where it goes behind Home Depot and that, it used to be McLaughlin, part of the creek where Chartiers Valley comes out. It's all like this, then space at this point. It's a backflow whenever it backs up.
For the stream, for the
Yeah.
creek.
It's the back channel, yeah, that's upstream of where all the sewers are, unfortunately, so then you're reversing your costs.
Well, that's,
It's sewage out
you're
there.
talking pumps and everything else.
Exactly, that's why this location was actually selected by all the engineers, is because it's in the right location. It's a piece of property that's really not buildable, but it's buildable for this type of use.
Underground use.
Right, exactly.
You said Bethel Park has already went through their approval process. Does it match what your analysis is, or
It's
you
the
work
same.
together? Okay.
Yeah, it's Three Rivers is presenting it to us. These slides that were, the ones you saw with, green in it, that's, pulled from the slides that they sent to
Okay.
us.
Any other questions? Ready? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, business. A motion to approve selection of the McLaughlin Run alternative number 7 as the preferred alternative to use in the joint multi-municipal SSOEP report as recommended by Borough Engineer.
So moved.
Bruce?
Second.
Jason, second. Any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve the January 2nd, 2024 regular meeting minutes as submitted.
I'll make a motion.
Justine,
Second.
Bruce, second.
I have a question.
Any questions?
I
Bruce?
have a question. On motion number 12, it said it was a unanimous vote. 3 of the new members couldn't vote on the regular minutes for the December 11th because they weren't here.
Can you correct that?
Yeah.
Maybe just be in my part.
Why do I have to say it? Do I have to say
With
amended?
those corrections.
Okay. So motion to approve the January 2nd, 2024 regular meeting minutes with the amended corrections. We have Justine and Bruce. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the February 2024 bill list.
So moved. Second.
Bruce and Jason, any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Justine?
In regards to the salt cost, the bulk salt cost, was that for something that we had to take? It was already ordered and we had to pay for it, correct?
There's 2 salt orders there. One was finishing up the contractual obligation for
Right,
2023, and then we did have a salt order for this year. So
Okay,
that invoice was like $20,000.
right, right.
That's 2 salt orders.
And we're full now?
The bid is full.
Okay.
Joe, is there a minimum we have to purchase per year?
And it fluctuates each year. Typically, it's about 850, 900 ton salt we use, and that's what our contract is off of. But this year, because last year's winter was so mild, and we had a good salt supply going in, I only put in a salt estimate of, I think, 250 tons. So knowing that I had 600 ton on hand, well, I had it, yeah. So we had an order of 150, so we have a contractual obligation of another 100 ton that we need to purchase between now and June 30th.
Are we able to store it? We have storage for that?
Yes.
I know
We had to build
you have to have that
an
stuff.
accessory bin
Okay.
for like, what we had to order at Christmas time. And fortunate enough, in January, we did have a lot of snow call-outs that the surplus was already exhausted. Yep.
Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to approve the February 16th, 23rd, March 1st, and 8th, 2024 payrolls.
So moved.
Bruce, Shane, any questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adopt resolution number 2024-2, a resolution of the Borough of Bridgeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the disposal of records in compliance with the Municipal Records Manual approved on July 16, 1993, in accordance with Act 428 of 1968. Bruce?
Second.
Jason?
Jason F.
Jason F. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to approve the Fern Lee lot consolidation plan that will combine two parcels, 2255K 10 and 255K 9 at 427 Railroad Street into one parcel as recommended by the Bridgeville Planning Commission and the Borough of Engineer.
So moved.
Bruce?
Second.
Justine, any questions?
Yeah, Joe, is there any chance you get us a little background on this?
Sure. This is just for sake of bearing, it's the old Petrocelli uniform building. The lot to the left of it between old Petrocelli's and Serafina's, that parking lot, the new owner is combining them into one. He's in the process now of making that into a coffee shop, and then he has hopes to build onto that building and then use that also as an outdoor dining area. But his hopes for combining it is so that he can build onto the property.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the execution of sculpture loan agreement by and between the Borough of Bridgeville and the Seward Johnson, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mess it up. What's the last name? Atelier Incorporated for the lease of an outdoor sculpture to be part of the 2024-25 Public Art Bridgeville Exhibition.
So moved.
Bruce?
Second.
Shane? Any questions?
Just gotta say it's a pretty neat scope.
Yeah, it's very cool. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize the execution of an agreement with Municipal Advertising Consultants for the production of the 2024 Borough Guide.
So moved.
Second.
Bruce and Jason, and just a note, that is all funded by sponsorships, correct?
Correct. The borough is responsible for the postage.
That's a gentleman that's been out around maybe.
Yes, same as the past 2 years. Yep.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the borough engineer to prepare plans, project specs, specifications, and bid documents to authorize the advertisement for bids for the 2024 road paving program.
So moved.
Bill? Bruce? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize the borough engineer to prepare bid documents and authorize the advertisement for bids for the Cook School Park Basketball Court Area Improvements Project. Note, the project is partially funded by the Pennsylvania DCNR grant that will reconstruct the basketball court and add a fence in the pickleball court. Shane?
Second.
Jason Ferry? Any questions?
Yeah, do you know roughly what percentage is covered by the grant?
50%.
That's a nice design.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize the advertisement of proposals for the zoning ordinance update project for the creation of the downtown zoning district as recommended by the Bridgeville Planning Commission and a recommendation of the comprehensive plan. Please note, this is just to find out the cost of the, if we would go through this process.
So basically, put it out for bid, correct?
Correct. Just giving Joe the permission to put it out there.
So moved.
Bill?
Second.
Shane? Any more questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize the hosting of the annual household hazardous waste collection event with Noble Environmental on Wednesday, July 24th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. held at the Bridgeville Volunteer Fire Department parking lot.
So moved.
Second.
Bruce? Justine? Any questions? All in favor?
Can I just ask a question? Is there a cost to the consumer for this? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what is it, the cost of it depends on what?
It depends on what the product is, but to explain the cost structure, we're able to get DEP funding, so it's expensive to participate. But just so you know, big picture, you're only being charged the consumer half of the costs. The minimal environmental will bill us after the event for the remaining 50% of what people participate in. We then file an application to DEP after we get pre-approval to get reimbursed for half of it. So the borough is paying 25% of the cost, DEP pays 25% of the cost, and then the consumer participating pays 50% of the
What was
cost.
the approximate cost last year?
It's about $5,000 that we pay out of pocket, and we get half of that back, so $2,500.
And Joe, is that for the next item as well, which is the electronics collection?
No, this is a new event this year. We were able to find a company that would do a free electronic event, collection event here in the borough. The person paying for it is actually the TV manufacturer will be paying for you to recycle your TV. So it's not a cost to the borough or the consumer. So that one, if you got a TV, please participate in the free one.
It'll be a long line there.
And we
All right.
encourage you.
Yeah, well, I'll read that one. A motion to author, I'm sorry, did I finish? All in favor? Number 13, opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, a motion to authorize the hosting of a free to-participate electronics collection event with Material Recovery Solutions on Saturday, June 29th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., held at the Bridgeville Volunteer Parking Lot. Bruce?
Second.
Justine, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to authorize the purchase of a new garage door from Wright Garage Doors Incorporated in the amount of $4,900 for the front garage door to the Borough Building. Shane?
Second.
Bruce? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to authorize disbursement of real estate tax refunds due to a change in assessment to the following. Jessica and David Morrison, parcel 322G83, years 2023-22, totaling $145.22. Shiv Land Company, Rite Aid store number 10892, parcel 322A69, years 2023 and 2022, total $7,902.62. Bridgeville Savings and Loan Association, parcel 255K 295, years 2023 and 22, total amount $2,891.98.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who was that, Jason? Any questions? These are still being looked at by the solicitor at the school district.
Correct.
All in favor?
The new solicitor.
The new solicitor.
Yes.
I forgot, yeah. Okay. Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to accept and pay any commission due 2024 real estate tax collector report.
So moved. Second.
Bruce and Jason. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to acknowledge receipt of the 2023 and January 2024 treasurer's reports.
So moved.
Bruce?
Second.
Shane? Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to accept all submitted January 2024 official reports. So, Bill?
Second.
And Jason Sarazik. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Whew. All right, administration, Bruce.
I don't have anything. I would like to put together a meeting with the group sometime this month, coming month, so other than that, I don't have anything to report.
Thank you for adding that little brief, just give me a brief. Okay, finances, myself, as we've talked about, Joe is now going through the audit for the financials for 2023, as he normally does. Just a reminder, all council, you receive a questionnaire from the auditor, if you could answer that as soon as possible.
On that, Jason, I reached out, we don't have to answer that one, okay, we weren't here prior, so.
Joe, did you let him know that?
No, that's not, if you reach out to them.
I reached out.
Oh, you already reached out to him? Okay.
Yeah, I reached out, so the three of us don't have to do anything.
Okay.
It's one.
Really everything seems fine with the budget, obviously the first month, so we're good there. Any questions for finance? Parks and Rec, Shane.
We met briefly this past month, just get caught up. Joe filled us in on all that's going on at Cook School. We talked about the pickleball court and some of the stuff going on there. Chartiers Park, we're looking at the pavilion, as well as doing some of the swing set, out for the finalization. But it's winter, it's slow right now. Obviously, if you're going to the parks in cold conditions, maybe tomorrow, just be careful. And the Public Works was out there cutting up a tree a couple weeks ago, so thanks to them. But outside of that, I'll get with Justine and Jason. We'll keep it.
Okay. Any questions for Park and Rec? Public Works, Jason Surratt.
Well, Public Works has been busy. This is a busy month for them. Fortunately, had some winter weather. They took care of that. They had called out twice, once early in the day, and then called back out again, so they had a little burst of snow. They did a good job. Everyone that I talked to said the roads were clean, even the second time around. They actually worked on the garage, which was overdue, including painting, electrical, a new workshop area, improved storage of materials. They were able to take out some of the things that were actually still left over from the flood of 2018 that they would be finally cleaned up and disposed of accordingly. We actually had an opportunity to get the new truck, number 3 has been received. It's got undercoat outfit with the borough decals and equipment. And they started removing the exhibit sculptures from 2023. And doing ongoing maintenance and cleaning and maintain culvert trash racks and doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're doing a really good job. You might commend them all.
Any questions for Public Works? Public Safety, Bill.
We had a complaint of pedestrian safety up on Washington Avenue. One of our residents was nearly struck by a car trying to cross the avenue. And so she gave us a couple of suggestions to look at some other communities. I took some time and went up to one of the communities, Mount Lebanon, that she recommended. And then I looked at ours, and there are some opportunities, I think, to look at the way our lighting system is and the time that it allots the pedestrians to get across. So it's in committee right now. I'll get with the committee for a meeting this week, or this month, and we'll have some kind of recommendation. But I know it's, PennDOT has a lot to say about how much time we allot for a pedestrian to cross. And the signage in Bridgeville is actually very good, but we're at the mercy of the motorists responding. So her complaint was valid. She almost got struck by a vehicle. I don't know how we stop it, but we'll look into to see if there's something we'll say.
Anything else for Bill? Thanks, Bill. Shar West COG, Jason.
A lot of the neighboring communities have mentioned some problems with budget deficits. Some of them are running into some very large challenges of assessments. I noticed we looked at some changes of assessments ourselves, and they're pretty minimal compared to, like, for example, North Fayette had a change of assessment of $30,000. Some of those having some challenges with budget deficits. Also trash issues in a lot of other communities. Same thing from what we had here in Bridgeville, where I think there were only two, companies who bidded. A lot of neighboring communities are having similar concerns, so a lot of that was expressed at the meeting. The county council, there was a representative there. They did want to mention that they are looking to revamp and upgrade the 9/11 call center. The original infrastructure of that call center was from the 90s, so they're looking to bring it into, the current technology. The county is also aware of the concerns of assessments, and they know it's something that's tough to take on, but I think they're looking to revamp and take that on, but there's very limited information on that. Joe, you're probably aware of this, that Devlin's office and Representative Kulik are having a grant seminar on March 12th. I think that's about it.
Any questions for Jason?
Joe, maybe you teach me.
Did they ask you to speak?
No, I didn't know about it.
Oh, maybe you want to share with us. You would be competing for the.
I'll go with it.
Mayor Betty Copeland.
February 5th, I was invited to speak to the Coast Guard on Black History, and they also were interested in my mayoral duties. Also attended a recent South Fayette Bridgeville Rotary Club meeting where the manager of South Fayette, John Barrett, spoke of everyone's interest in Raising Cane opening on February 14th. Thank you.
They're actually opening tomorrow. There's a soft open tomorrow.
There was actually a soft opening today. It was pretty good. Had good news.
Did you go?
The chamber members, all the chamber members got an invitation. Not to brag. Police Chief Chang King.
Thank you, Council President. I provide a standard monthly report. If there's any questions, hopefully I can provide answers on that. Otherwise, I don't have anything. Thank you.
Any questions for Chief? Okay, Solicitor Tommy Fairwood?
Likewise, I have nothing to add to my written report.
Okay. Borough Engineer, John.
Thank you, Mr. President. Providing a copy of our engineering report, just a couple of updates. If you haven't noticed, we finally got West Penn Power to move the power line and construction of the Warner Street.
First
repairs
construction?
has started, yes. It started at the beginning of the week, so the potholes are getting installed, so the lag can follow. Regarding the Welcome Run flood project, we are currently reviewing proposals from Geotex for the portion of the designs while the DEPs continue to do their reviews. The other item that we need to have accomplished, and Tom and I are working on it, is we have the easements for all the community, all the property owners before DEP's on proceed to the next level of showing the permit.
So have you reached out to any of them yet, or it's not?
Yeah, we actually have, we're going to, we have a couple periods on, we're meeting tonight to finalize the final master documents, to send out to him tomorrow for you guys to make your proposal.
And then, any other item with important note is we're moving forward working on resolving some of the sanitary concerns up on Center Street. There's some backups and stuff on some old, I don't want to call them wildcat sewers, but there's not enough public sewers.
It's always the only way that you can.
Houses connected to one lateral, it's, so we're working on resolving that.
Any question for John?
Yeah, I do. John, on your McLaughlin Run flood control, on the fourth line, you said working to get them to fix. Should that be fix or fit? First page, Public Works Projects.
Yes, working to get, let me see, I'm sorry.
let's see.
Sure.
Oh, that's the last one.
I think maybe last one's both are included in the package.
Oh, sorry. But still, is it fit or fix? Fit.
Sorry about that.
But they fixed that over there.
Yeah, we fixed that.
Any questions for Borough Engineer? Okay, Assistant Fire Chief Bob Sigwith.
Thanks, Council President. I gave everybody a copy of the report from last year. We had 407 calls last year. So far this year, we're up to 35 calls we had in January. And unfortunately, we will not be having a fish price this year. Our manpower during the day is not where it should be. And the fish fry, we ain't gonna be able to do the fish fries this year. So unfortunately, we will not have fish. That's all I got.
Sorry to hear that, but totally understand. You only have so many volunteer hours. Okay, thank you. Southbridge EMS, Stan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. We submitted our monthly report for January. The only thing we'd like to add is that our membership, our annual membership drive will be out in the coming weeks, so we would appreciate the community support with that. Just to let you know, traditionally we have less than 10% of the residents that actually get a membership with us. And the way insurance companies are covering emergency services and ambulance services specifically, it can help cover the cost should you hopefully not need us, but if you do need us, it covers some of those costs. So.
Thank you, Dan. Bridgeville Historical Society. Mary, pass anything on?
Our program on February 23rd, 7:30 at the Chartiers Room is on Bridgeville mining. The presenter will be Warren Merritt. And the president would also like you to know that of the street signs that were given to us, we've sold 100, and we're still waiting for others to be picked up. And I'm surprised that nobody's taking Washington Avenue at all. You call Linda Tome at the Historical Society. She'll be able to help you find your street. Maybe someone, we did have someone who wanted Moore Avenue and turned that back in, so that could easily happen to some of the others too. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Bridgeville Library, Aaron.
We have our report, some upcoming events. Right now, we are running a penny drive, which ends on Monday, so President's Day. So if you have any pennies laying around, you can bring them by the library. And then we'll be having a Dine Out Lane fundraiser at Chipotle on Tuesday, March 5th from 4 to 8. You just mentioned the library, a portion of the proceeds will benefit us. Thank you.
Any questions for Aaron? Bridgeville Parking Authority, Ms. Glassman.
I'd like to give you an end of the year report. What a difference a year and a half makes. The Parking Authority ended 2022 $71,000 in the red. With the change in board makeup and leadership, the change in authority management and personnel, as well as the belt-tightening measures, the Parking Authority is back in the black. Management and I reviewed all vendor relations as well as subscriptions and insurances. The board adjusted and removed any not useful and cut costs where possible. We worked with the borough, the businesses, and the community to offer free parking during bridge closures, during Bridgeville Day on the Avenue setup, and the event day, as well as 2 weeks during the holiday season. Revenue is up and expenses are down. I'm happy to report the Parking Authority ended 2023 almost $30,000 in the black. This allows us to make repairs to lots, clean lots, remove snow and ice, restore broken lights, and maintain all equipment and lots in good condition.
Any questions for Deb? Thank you, Deb. Appreciate your service.
Yeah, thank you. Good job.
Okay, Borough Manager.
Everyone got my written report. The other thing I'd just like to touch on is that bi-weekly recycling is now going on. There's still a learning curve, but we're getting through it. Everyone's going to have their new recycling carts middle of January. pretty much all I had, everything else has been covered.
That's off to those guys. I watched them every morning, 10 degrees out, and they were out there, putting everything's up in the road. They have them all stored down in the park.
All right, I'll admit it, I had mine out the first week. So.
Yeah, they did a good job for guys that never drove in snow before either.
Oh, yeah?
So it was,
Hey, Joe, I have a question for you. If someone's returned, I mean, right by where I live, there's a couple of people that 2 or 3 of them. Can I just pick them up and bring them back to
Sure.
work? I guess they left 3 of them with 2 houses, so.
Yeah, if you had multiple accounts, it was a duplex, so yeah, we'll gladly take it.
Okay. I would also, Mayor mentioned John Barrett speaking 2 weeks prior to that. Joe spoke at the Rotary, and everybody was all impressed. So there was a few of us that stuck our chests out and said, proud of what Joe's done, so thank you. New business?
Excuse me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Planning Commission.
Oh, did I skip it?
You seem to have skipped over the planning commission.
Well, that's because I wrote
Was that
it.
intentional?
Justine. Oh, Dale.
All I was gonna do was introduce Dale.
All right,
as
Justine,
the
would you
new
like to
chair.
speak?
No.
Go ahead,
Dale's the
introduce
new
me.
chair of the planning commission.
I'm the new chair of the planning commission. Last month was kind of a busy month. We talked about the Fernley, which you guys approved. We kind of reviewed the comp plan and some of the comments, public comments, and went back to the consultant for some clarifications on those. Hopefully we've got most of that stuff back, and we'll be passing that to you next month. Looking at February's meeting, we're going to sit down and start looking at the comp plan recommendations, the active transportation, and some of the projects that have kind of fallen through the cracks, kind of pick those up and kind of start the ball rolling with those and keep moving in a forward progress. So that's what we have.
Thank you, Dale. I'll never forget you again.
Thank you, Joe.
New business. Jason.
Yeah, so at the library meeting, Cindy Caprazola, who's head of the Friends of the Library, does a fabulous job, by the way, had mentioned that it's sometimes hard to coordinate volunteers. And there's a lot of different organizations that are doing a lot of different things, and wouldn't it be nice to have some central place that Bridgeville residents could go if they want to volunteer, whether they're part of the Friends of the Library or Bridgeville or whatever group or organization. So I had mentioned that I would bring it to the council, and I thought it would be a great idea if we had a volunteer calendar where organizations like the BAA or, the fire department, the borough, of course, the library, historical society, etc. Like, for example, I know the BAA holds tournaments every year, and I'm sure that a lot of the volunteers that they get are the parents of all the kids. Wouldn't it be great to open up to other people who, if I don't know about it and I find out about it, I'd be willing to, myself and a lot of others, to volunteer to go down and help, and we'll allow some of those parents to go see their kids play and stuff like that. There's so many things that are going on in the community. So anyway, to just kind of centralize it, I think would be a great idea. So I just wanted to bring that idea to the council.
Any views on how, so it would be a calendar on the website, how would a nonprofit, is there would be a form on the website that say, hey, I need it for this day, or what are your?
Yeah, this is my suggestion, and you could put it on the borough calendar, although that might be too congested, or have it like close by so it's easy to see, but brings people more to the borough website. But they would list their organization, the date of where they would need volunteers, a brief explanation, and then have a link to that organization for a digital form or just an email. You can email so-and-so with the Friends of the Library or the BAA.
Check out Sign Up Genius, Jay. It's something that we use for a lot of that volunteering. So maybe something like that could be tied in with a link that, hey, the library's having an event. If you're available, I know we did the tree planting that you did.
Right. So we had planning had talked about trying to organize some sort of volunteer page on the website. And what we did find out that tree Pittsburgh uses a great little sign-in sheet, a sign-in, you just go online and sign in for that particular event. Now, I did do some preliminary investigation as to software that could handle that. I don't know if there's a cost. I was gonna go back to Tree Pittsburgh and see what product they use.
Well, sign up, Jesus.
Genius.
That's a free
Is it
service.
cost?
No, it's free. Try it out, take it for a spin. Just go log in and you.
I've used it, I think it would depend on the organization, if they want to use that, or if they want to use a Google form, that would be up to them, but I don't think it would cost the borough anything to put a separate thing on the website. I'd be glad to help if you need help.
Because we are talking about Earth Day also, getting volunteers for Earth Day, so.
I do have a question. I tried to come down to the library to volunteer one time, and when there's children involved, you have to have all these things. And I'm there like, no, I don't want to have to do all that stuff. So like, if there is a volunteer thing, I think there needs to be something stated that you need extra stuff to make, because when they said that to me, I'm like, hey, I'm not interested, because I don't want to have to do all that. I'm a good person. I felt, and I understand the situation, but this is me, like, I'm like,
Yeah, it's a government.
that's just not me. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But I think if you do something like that, you have to make a little
Anything has to
thing
do
off
with
to the
children.
side. Yeah, what extra that you might have to do, because people might not be interested.
Each individual organization is part of that, should be aware of that, and put that in their description, like I work with special
Yeah.
Olympics, and
Right.
anything we deal with, that we have volunteers in, they're aware of that, so that'll be the responsibility of putting that on the calendar. You know, that'll be part of their form, typically you fill out a form that basically.
Because then, like, I would have had to pay for, like, whatever that, what's that thing called? Like, I don't even know what that's called. No, that's so wrong with
BJ, do you have a question?
really?
No, I was just trying to direct you over here.
Oh, like, I didn't get that.
This may be a silly question, as I'm not on Facebook, but does the borough have a Facebook page? That would
Yeah.
probably get a lot of traffic if you could denote that somewhere, that calendar on the Facebook page.
All right.
A lot of people aren't on there.
Any other new business?
Just to piggyback off Morgan, for those that don't have Facebook, there is a phishing scam right now. So make sure you don't have a name on there. They're creating profiles on there. I know this is more police stuff, but my wife caught one, family member. So keep check on people. They're creating Facebook accounts, reaching out to Joe. They haven't seen him in 20 years. Said, hey man, I'm in a bind. Can you help me out? It's happening here, so just be cognizant. Morgan, you have like 3 accounts already, so. They belong here though, I don't know what happened.
Is this something we could vote on, or is it something?
Is it vote?
I mean, a future meeting?
No, I'll see what I can put together for you.
Can I have a motion for adjournment? Bruce? Jason? All in favor?